what you're doing and why you're doing it.
That's just such a deep, heavy one straight away. I need detail.
Okay,
like,
so...
No, it's fine.
Yeah, cool.
I am stand-up paddleboarding around England and Wales. I didn't make too much of a song about it. I literally decided this is what I need to do. I think I was getting a bit itchy in London. And I packed my bags and just set off. I kind of wanted it to be a fairly organic kind of journey with very basic stuff, and let the story kind of unravel as I meet people and as people discover it, and let it have a kind of a natural rhythm, you know? There wasn't really much of a plan. That was the plan. It was let the wind and the tide be my gods, and that be the main dictatorship of where I land and where I go. I wanted to do some long paddles, but I also wanted to immerse myself with the people I meet and the environment, and let the flow go, if you know what I mean.
So how long have you been doing it?
Yeah.
And when did you start? Talk through that.
I started in July, so a bit late. Really, ideally, I should have started in May. And so now it's getting a little bit nippy. Been going a few months now. And unfortunately, the saddest thing is for me, I didn't go around Scotland. I wanted to save Scotland as a separate project, but I really was looking forward to that. It's one of my most favourite places I wanted to paddle around. But yeah, so I'm going to save that, cross the border, down. I don't know how far I've done. Maybe over 1,500 kilometres, I'm sure. Maybe a couple of thousand kilometres, I'm not sure. I'm going to measure that up later. That's not really the big concern. Yes. How did you like August? So, I can imagine I'm not going to be finishing until December, mid-December.
So are you paddling every day, or are you letting the conditions dictate when you paddle? And
there is a little bit of strategy, actually, because if you look down the line, if I've got a crossing to do and I need to catch, say, a northerly. I mean, this is quite a good example. I'm trying to cross the Bristol Channel. I know I've got a northerly coming. I need to kind of take advantage of that. But I might have crap weather for a couple of days for me to get in position to cross over. So I'm going to have to hack through that, just so I'm in a good position to catch the weather that's coming up behind me. So I do need to, make a plan a little bit. But generally I want to paddle each day. But I'm trying to find that balance of doing some good hard paddles with interacting with people, interviewing people, filming. So it's hard, and like I said, man, it's actually become quite stressful. All right, I now am. Where the fuck am I, dude? What is this place called again?
Llangennith. Llangennith.
Do I have to do that bit?
Yeah.
Shit.
As Flemmy as possible.
I'm Flamgilla.
Llangennith.
I thought you said F.
Llangennith.
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 On the Gower.
Llangennith. On the Gower. Can I just do Gower?
Yeah, just do you on the end of the Gower.
Cut. Yeah. Yeah. On the Gower. Llangennith. I've got maybe about 10-15k to get round the corner to Port Ion, like a lion in Zion, And then I'm going to cross the Bristol Channel to Ildekum. 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 What is it?
Ilfracombe.
Ilfracombe. Right. Yeah. Yes. Crossing the Bristol Channel. Finally. I think Wednesday. I'm going to take a little bit of a northerly wind. The tides are going to shoot me around. It's going to take between 4 and 6 hours, I think. And then the Cornish coast, finally, to Land's End. And then my home straight. I don't know if you can call 500 miles a home straight, but yeah, back to London.
So how's your mind and your body coping with the challenge?
Actually quite good, mate, to be honest. My mind and body suffer more when I don't do things like this, you know what I mean? My body's good. When you're playing a long game and you're on your own, you kind of can't really take the risks that you want to. A lot of times when I'm paddling around and I see some amazing bouldering or a cliff jump, or I want to do this and do that, I kind of have to keep the shit together, otherwise, you know, if I hurt myself, even if it's just a simple injury, it kind of ruins the trip. Can't really take too many risks, but at the same time, I kind of need to as well. That's part of it, to get around certain places and being quite exposed, being quite a long way out at sea. But I have to maintain myself, especially when it's getting cold. I need to keep myself warm. I have to make sure I have good sleep. I have to have a little bit of a routine, because otherwise your body just deteriorates and your mind deteriorates. You get really tired. Like I said to you, it's not just the long paddles. It's the interviewing people. It's talking about mental health. It's talking about my mental health and other people's mental health, which is really emotional, and that's really tiring. I kind of take it with me, you know, when I go. And I have very intimate relationships with people, because I'm this sort of passing entity that comes into your life and then is off again, talking about a subject that is quite intense with a lot of people who are suffering from it, who are part of it in some way. So I have very intimate, very intense relationships with people, and then I go, and I carry it with me sometimes, and then being a little bit physically tired, and then a little rainbow comes out. Do you know what I'm saying? I get really emotional about little things. It's like, oh, yeah. So it's funny that. So yeah, there's a certain way I've got to kind of maintain the long game, but at the same time I've got to live each day as it comes. It's funny finding all these balances out, emotionally and physically. Yeah.
So just talk a little bit around what the purpose of the trip is, what you're trying to raise awareness for.
Yeah. I kind of, there's so many angles to this trip. I not too long ago set up a charity, and there's no better way to raise awareness for it than on home turf. And on home turf that's never been done before, never been paddled before, you know. And it was a great way to promote that, but to really engage with it and to engage with people. I wanted to do it for mental health as well. I think mental health has a very strong connection to our environmental impacts on things, community, the connections with each other, how our societies run, and it's you know, our education and the way we deal with things have a direct impact on everything around us. And mental health is one of those, it's got such a stigma attached to it, and it's not communicated that well. And a lot of the solutions to dealing with mental health normally come in a pill form, or really badly communicated. And I just think it's something that I kind of really wanted to get to the bottom of. I really wanted to kind of expose it. I wanted to be the guinea pig, do you know what I mean? To open up about it, to talk about my thoughts, my feelings, and really let other people open up to me and get those stories and get a direct reflection of the world that's giving them these mental health issues. Because it's not just the trauma and the abuse and the very detrimental mental health issues that people have that we mainly think about. It's the little things, the anxiety, the depression, the little things that so many people live with each day, and just cope, just get on with it. And the thing is that you don't really know you're poisoned, because we're quite resilient, quite strong people, and a little bit of poison each day, you can sugarcoat that, you can distract yourself, you can just deal with it, and you don't really know that actually you're really quite ill. Your mentality and how the world is affecting you. And you know, I've had amazing connections with people who work in the NHS, who work with institutes and work with all different sectors of mental health. But like the places where you really get good feedback are places like hairdressers. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's where the girls natter. You know what I mean? And that's where I found amazing things like that. And it's like 3 out of 5 girls are taking pills for anxiety and depression. It's such a big thing. And it's almost like normal, you know. And I hate it because, you know, we do live in a world where the money's in the drugs, not in the cure. And there's just this, it's like, you know, there's so many experiences and connections that we can make with each other that can replace so much of that. And I think there's a lot of dysfunctionality with our community and our society that is making us have so many mental health issues. And that's what I'm bubbling up to the surface of this whole trip. It's just fascinating.
So at the start of the trip, in some of your video blogs, you explained that you were kind of doing it because you found it difficult to ask for help yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, and the challenge would mean that you needed to ask for help from people. How have you found that?
Oh, dude, to be honest, it was quite tricky, you know, especially when you're tired and you just want to crack on. I don't, you know, it's almost like ingrained in me and in so many people that it's a sign of weakness. And it's, you know, especially from a man's point of view as well. And you don't really talk about it. And I mean, I'm quite in tune with my sensitive side, but there's also a bloke in there that really is like, you know, all that stuff never really gets communicated out. It was quite difficult, but I got over it pretty quickly. But it's hard to ask for help, and actually sometimes you don't really need to, because it's funny how people react to you. Because sometimes if you really need something, or you want something, you kind of resignate it, and people kind of a little bit back off when you're too much wanting something. Like a dog, you know, you run at a dog and run away from it and chase you. And there's a psychology there with needing help as well. But if you just turn up and you just meet someone and go, oh, you know, right, you don't like, I don't tell them what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, this is why, help me. And I just chat, and they chat, and just get to know, and then they discover what I'm doing. They make a connection with the story. They have found out, they have discovered something, and it becomes theirs. And then they feel like they can be part of it, and they can give themselves to it. But if I force it down their neck, a lot of people back away from it. So sometimes, you know, just having a chat, and just obviously when I turn up, be bloody exhausted, this teary ginger face, just like, you know, my bags, they're like, what's going on here? There's a story here. So yeah, I kind of like, it's quite easy to see that something's going on. So if you get a certain mindset of people, they kind of are drawn to you in a way, and let it go from there. But Jesus, and it's stressful, you know, when you haven't got the money and you haven't got all these things and you're so tired, all in a big cocktail together. It puts a lot of pressure on me. It's quite stressful.
Yeah. One of the other things you've been doing is trying to do some beach cleans along the way.
Yeah.
Bits and pieces like that. Can you just talk a little bit around litter in the oceans and how you're trying to raise awareness of that, and what you're doing to help, and what other people can do to help?
Yeah. Yeah, the whole point was to do one of the largest beach cleans ever around Britain and kind of see what the consistency was of the type of rubbish and what's out there, and just do my little bit wherever I land. Sometimes, like today, I just organically hooked up with the Marine Conservation Society and just joined in with their beach clean. Yeah, and I just do a little bitch clean and a bitch clean. Nice. Clean up the bitch. Yeah, the environmental impact is just ridiculous, and our whole plastic story is ridiculous. The amount of it's it's so overwhelming. Like it's hard to think that you're having much impact because it's just so much. And you know, the amount of fuel that oil it takes to produce just one plastic bottle is ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing is just don't buy plastic bottles. And there's so many decisions that we have to make that it's going to make our lives so much difficult. It's so much harder. But when you've got so many of us making these little decisions, just life is easy and it's just all produced there. It's such a heavy impact. And you know, the people at the top, people with the power, they don't want to let go of their money. They don't want to let go of their power. They're not going to make decisions and just go, okay, we're not going to produce that because that's just bad. Because it's easy. They're making a fortune. So it's really all down to us just to make these little decisions, not to buy these things. But it's so difficult.
What do you think what's the biggest thing as individuals we can do to help the oceans be a better, cleaner place?
Yeah, it's just being quite clever about what you buy and what you contribute. It's making those decisions, but it's also just doing a bit. I mean, it's hard to ask everyone to do a clean up, especially when there's such a big problem. It's like you don't really feel like it's making an impact. But yeah, it's really what we buy. It's just getting everyone to kind of, I'm trying to think of a good word to contribute, but scrutinise. What's a nice word?
Make sort of more,
just a little bit more conscious decision about, you know, what you buy in a shop, because it's just everything's so easy, and we're weak, we're opportunists, you know. It's just a little, it's all right, just, you know, and it's just there, and it's so easy. We've had it for so long. It's like I can't give it up. It's worse than a drug. And it's making those decisions. I go through it all the time. It's so annoying. And I just think, I just want to buy that, but instead I can't. I've got to go around there and do this and go through this whole journey where I could just buy that and then it's all sorted. Because we've all got such busy lives, got so many things to do, so much responsibility, and we fill our lives up with so much stuff. And that's why I become more conscious of it like this, because I've literally given all of my time to focus directly on what's in front of me. So I can give my time and see all these things, whereas before it's like, I'll walk past that bit because it's like, I'm about to go and I'm busy. Or I walk past that person who looks depressed because, he's all right, you know, I'm just going to go around. But now, I pick up that, I go and talk to that person, I go and do all these things that I could fill my life up with. I could spend my whole life doing it, but it's making a positive impact. Whereas I didn't have time for it before necessarily, and it was all too busy. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. But it's a balance, you know. We can't just turn it off, but we can make these little tiny decisions to kind of bring back a little bit of a balance and a new incentive.
So, can you talk a bit about the kit you're using? Explain what you're using, what you're carrying. Like, you know, talk around what we talked, like why haven't you got a tent, all that type of stuff. You talk around your camp.
Yeah, talking about keeping it basic, which I'm gonna feel now. The temperature's dropping. I only got a tarp because it goes into a tiny little bundle like that. I've got obviously a sleeping bag, bivy bag, tarp, Most of the space and weight is all food and water. I just have my bare essentials. I've been whittling it down as the journey goes as well. So I got nothing to shave with. I've gotten rid of a couple of pairs of trousers. So I'm literally almost wearing all my stuff the whole time. And trying to be as hygienic as I can. I lick myself daily. Yeah, man, I have the basics. I can't carry the weight, you know, because every paddle stroke is just heavy, so heavy. It's hard, especially when you're doing a long journey like this. But it's vital. But it's quite good. It means I have to really kind of think out of the box to kind of make things work for myself. But like I said, now it's going to get colder. It's going to get harder. The board, I mean, it's my bed. It's my mattress. Sometimes I put it up as a wind barrier. It's my weapon. It's amazing. That thing is just had no problems. It's just see me the whole way through. It's a great board, really good board. Nice glide. My paddle, no problems. I mean, when I did the Amazon, I went through like 6. But different conditions. But this thing, it's just strong, really strong. And that's the thing when you're carrying a heavy load. When you go for a paddle stroke and you go on a downwinder and you do big thrusts, that's where you can really put a lot of pressure on your paddle. So I'm sometimes a bit sensitive about how I use it because I have no spares. And I had no spares when I crossed the border on my little girl's bike. I have hardly any spares. I can fix my board. But every time I've had a problem, it's connected me with people. And it's created a really, really cool story. So there's kind of no such thing as a problem, if you know what I mean. Not that I'm willing my shit to break, but I don't mind too much because it means I have to try something, I have to communicate, I have to reach out to people and try something, and it normally ends up being a nice story, and then on again. So, you know, whatever happens, happens. If I'm on a downwinder and I'm way out at sea and my paddle breaks, I'm kind of in trouble. The last thing I'm going to do is call the RLI. So what I would do is I'd rig up my tarp on the front of my board and then have it up as a sail downwinder. That's kind of my backup. That's not paddling. That's about it, yeah.
It's going to be getting colder in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
How are you going to adjust to the change in weather that you're expecting?
Yes, dealing with the cold. It's quite important to maintain my body and myself because when you don't get enough sleep and you put that stress on you, it's a lot of waste of energy, and it also deteriorates your mind quite a lot, and you can't really sustain it for very long. You can't really go into survival mode for long periods of time. You know? So it's really important that I do stay warm. So sometimes I find a sheep. Yes. No, I have, you know, before in the past I've stuffed my bag full of straw and stuff, but I've got a sleeping bag that's quite cozy. I've got a silk inner. I've got a bivvy on the top. I wear all my clothes. I've got kind of like a really fluffy husky hat, and you know, I wrap myself up, and it's all right so far. Yeah, when the frost comes, it's going to test me. It really will, and then I'm going to have to find a. I shall find a spooner companion. You will enjoy surfing.
I think that's good, dude.